While on the way there, I heard a commotion. Iba, look! A large skirmish had broken out beside the path of the river, where soldiers of the Ogeki unit were scrapping together a defense against well-armed foes. Upon closer inspection, Iba and I saw flags belonging to the Odawara domain, and soldiers clad in both Odawara and Imperial attire were pushing through. I cupped my hands over my mouth in shock. While the Ogeki unit was doing its best to fend off the wave of advancing foes, they were far outnumbered, and in a moment the enemy troops slaughtered them, turning the river red with dismembered limbs floating down the current. No. Rumors of betrayal floated everywhere during the Battle of Toba Fushimi, considering many domains had defected upon witnessing the sheer scale of the Imperial army. Now, here we were at Hakone, feeling the same sting. Shit. He wants to break the vow to save his men. And, Yeah. I nodded. The moment had finally come, and Iba was deciding whether or not fighting would, in fact, alter history enough to receive punishment from Princess Sun. It was unclear to both of us what kind of consequences he would incur for breaking the vow, but I couldn't bear to make Iba witness this gruesome affair and abandon all of his loyal soldiers. This blade hissed as it came out of its sheath.
Taichou, 来てくださったんですね。
わざわざ我々に首を献上しに来たか。
The Imperial soldier aimed his rifle with one eye shut under his straw hat and pointed it towards Iba. However, the swift motion of Iba's sword produced a lucid flash as he kicked the ground and disappeared. I wasn't the only one who couldn't catch him.
全く見えなかったぞ。俺化け物め、撃て
Okay. All of the Imperial soldiers trampled the weeds beside the riverbed as they frantically spun around looking for an open shot on Iba. When Iba finally appeared, the Imperial soldiers fired their rifles blindly at him before he had a chance to escape, and Iba flicked his sword 3 times. I covered my ears to the startling gunfire, but I heard metal clanking as I took my hands off of them. I stared in awe. Iba deflected all of the bullets, splitting them in half before they dropped to the ground. Holy shit, Iba! So far, no one has done that yet. Holy crap. Iba, what just happened? I was keenly aware of Iba's legendary sword technique, but possessing the confidence, let alone the vision, to anticipate the path of a bullet and split it in half was something else entirely. Oh, you saw it, alright. You saw what? That is an amazing skill. What the fuck? What? No amount of mastery could grant that sort of supernatural intuition. Supernatural, you say? Couldn't possibly have to do with, You know, the arm. It was an impossible feat, yet Iba spoke about it as coolly as one would describe a stroke of luck. I was baffled, but Iba seemed more or less indifferent.
それだけじゃない。体の奥底から力が溢れてくるんです。鬼の腕が力を貸しているのか、それとも僕の体に馴染んできたということでしょうか。
I'm afraid of both options. Just like that, Iba's left hand began to emit a bright purple glow, causing the markings upon it to shine. The light pulsated as if to answer Iba's quandaries. So long as he could harness its awe-inspiring power, there was no way he could lose in battle. As my mouth fell ajar, someone interrupted us.
なんだお前たちは。俺たちは味方だぞ。なんだこいつらは。鉄砲で撃たれても倒れないだと。
Oh shit.
まさか人間じゃない。
From the distance cried several voices. And then a blood-curdling shriek. Shadows, clad in pointed hats with glowing red eyes, began to swarm over the fallen Odawara soldiers. They moved like specters, dragging their feet over the dead without hesitation, and their uniforms were the same as the Imperial forces from earlier. Then, ominous glimmer appeared in their eyes before they mutilated the corpses, digging their maws in terrifying glee to feast upon blood and organs.
彼らは羅刹か。ということはまさか。
As Iba spoke in a stern tone of voice, a tall, long-haired officer emerged from the crowd.
やれやれ。食事をするのは構わんが、こやつらの作法はなっておらんな。
That voice.
やはりお前もここにいたか。伊庭八郎。そして雪村千鶴。
Hi, you bastard.
再びこうして相まみえる日を待ち望んでいたぞ。
Takeda licked his lips as he spoke, turning his fearsome gaze over towards me. Ah! Come to your side, Takeda. The former captain of the Shinsengumi's 5th Division. After losing his right arm in battle to Hachiro Iba, he sought the help of Kodo Yukimura to drink the water of life and fuse the demon's arm to his body. Fuck you. He eyed me like prey, filling me with dread as he scanned me from head to toe. Had Takeda always looked at me that way? Hell no! Iba stepped in front of me protectively, forcing Takeda to meet his line of sight.
そう遠くないうちに再会するだろうとは思っていましたが、今日あなたを切ることができれば、これ以上犠牲を増やさずに済みますね。
Hachiro looking for a fight.
この私を切ると面白い冗談を言ってくれる。
I found myself perplexed by Takeda's mockery. When last we met in Yase village, Takeda was handedly beaten by Iba in a one-to-one duel. But there was a disturbing cockiness about Takeda that was causing my stomach to sink. Iba. I turned to Iba to voice my concerns, but as his name left my mouth...
千鶴ちゃん、危ないですから、下がっていてください。
Something is going on! For a moment, I hesitated whether or not to listen. But out of respect, I backed away from Iba. Moments earlier, Iba mentioned that a mysterious power was beginning to flow through his arm. If that were true, then I had faith that he would have no trouble subduing Takeda once again, but I couldn't shake the inexplicable dread. Both of them unsheathed their katanas and spent a minute glaring at one another while shifting their feet.
一瞬で決めさせてもらいますよ。長々と相手をする暇はありませんから。
よかろう。一瞬でだな。
Takeda offered a smug grin, and in the next moment... White sparks flash as their blades clang into one another with overwhelming fervor. They traded and parried strikes with aplomb, but Takeda was gaining the upper hand, pushing Iba back with a flurry of offensive slashes.
なんだと？
鬼の腕の力さえあれば、私の剣筋を見切ることなどたやすいと思っていたのだろうが。どうやら当てが外れたようだな。お前の鬼の腕の力が目覚め始めているのならば、当然私にも同じことが起きているはずだろう。
Right, cause same demon arm, just opposite sides of the demon. Out of frustration, Iba began swinging wildly at Takeda, swiping him from all directions, but each of his swings was nimbly dodged.
見えるぞ、お前の剣筋が。急所は避けたか。まあその程度の芸は見せてもらわねば戦いがいがないか。腐っても名門道場の跡取りだ。すでに私との力の差を悟っているはずだな。
一体どういうことだ？
That's what I would like to know, Iba.
ヤセの里で戦った時はこれほどの力の差はなかったはず。それなのに
鬼の腕を得たことで慢心したな、伊庭八郎。善心だろうが悪心だろうが、供物すらよこさぬ者に恩恵を与えるものなどないぞ。
Excuse me?
供物だと？お前まさか人の血を？
その通り。数十人では効かぬほどの人間の血を飲んだ。
Holy shit.
その息に応えてくれたのか。鬼の腕はお前をしのぐ力を与えてくれたぞ。
なんということを。
思えばお前のことは一目見た時から気に入らなかった。たまたま名門道場の跡取りに生まれただけで輝かしい将来を約束され、しかもその若さで将軍の奥詰めを務めていただと。名もなき家の出のせいでこの地望を生かす機会さえ与えられず、どこに行っても軽んじられ、武田の姓を語ってすら這い上がれなかったこの私の胸の内が貴様にわかるか。
Damn. A laceration suddenly appeared on Iba, from which a thick geyser of blood splashed into the air. Iba collapsed to the floor, reaching his hand tenderly to his wound, writhing in a widening pool of blood.
だがたった今分かったぞ。お前は今この瞬間 私に倒されるためだけに存在していたのだ。お前には這い上がるためだけにおびただしい量の血をすすり、悪鬼となり果てることなどできまい。
Eva! The bellow of Takada's maniacal threats echoed in my ears, and as I attempted to sprint towards Eva, one of the Furies snatched me from behind. Ah, fuck. Stop! Release me! I tried wiggling from out of their vice grip, but the Fury merely tightened his squeeze. I couldn't break free.
ラセツども、その女は丁重に扱え。この私の子を産む女だからな。
Have we not learned from Kazuma's root? Have we not learned? God, Takada would be the last person that... No. No. Unless Takada gets his own root. Hell no. Why? 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 Oh, why? Why? Ah! What the? I felt speechless out of sheer bewilderment. So am I! It was a vile and sickening admission, one that I had presumed to be no bias in reality, but haunted me all the same. Takada reached his slender fingers underneath my chin, despite my intense resistance to his touch. Then he clutched it aggressively, forcing my head to tilt upwards to face him directly.
鬼の腕が私の体に馴染むにつれ、お前が毎晩のように夢に出てくるようになってな。
Lucid, eh?
しかも相当に艶気がある夢ばかりだったぞ。ただの小娘だと思っていたのだがな。
Eva, please get up and stab Takeda.
夢の意味を行動に尋ねたところ、この鬼の腕はどうやら純潔の女鬼とちぎり、こうなすことをご所望らしい。
I felt sick to my stomach, barely able to look Takeda in the eye as he indulged in this disgusting fantasy.
彼女に触るな。
Eba, drenched in his own blood, shot a spiteful glare over towards Takeda, but all of the Fury riflemen fired their guns at once. Eba! Because of Eba's Fury powers, his wounds would be healing momentarily, but not unless...
傷が治らない。
Not unless those bullets are made of silver! Blood oozed from his flesh, ripped asunder, but showed no signs of regeneration. What was happening? Did Takeda somehow do this?
同じ鬼の腕を持つお前も私と似たような夢を毎晩のように見ているはずだが、その上品そうな顔の裏でどんな浅ましい欲望を抱いているのか、この娘に聞かせてやれば100年の恋も一瞬で冷めるだろうな。
What has this root become? Somebody tell me!
黙れ。
Eba summoned whatever energy he could to heave that half-hearted swing at Takeda, but it was futile.
バカめ、まだわからんか。
After Takeda deflected Iba's sword with ease, he stared into Iba's eyes before slashing his exposed chest. I heard the chilling sound of Iba's flesh splitting like a butcher's knife through swine, followed by a blood-curdling scream. Iba's legs gave out, and he once more fell into a pool of his own blood, which gushed from his wide gash. I watched in horror as his body twitched from the trauma of Takeda's blade as he cackled to himself. As moments went by, I waited for his flesh to heal, but nothing came forth save for my tears. No! I stomped on the foot of the Fury restraining me, flailing out of their arms to sprint towards Iba's body. Iba! Iba! Before I could reach Iba, Takeda slapped me across the face. Excuse me?
このまま型をつけてもいいが、せっかくの機会だ。一つ取引してやろう。雪村千鶴。もしお前が私のものになるというなら、この男を見逃してやらんでもない。
Right, I have found a way to hate Takeda even more now. I was blubbering so hard I could barely form words. You let Iba.
多少の憂さ晴らしはできた。こんな雑魚をこれ以上いたぶっても仕方がないからな。
Takeda was manipulative, but there was no way of knowing if he was bluffing or toying with me. To save Iba's life, the only reasonable thing I could do was to distrust Takeda. I don't trust you.
ほう。ではそこにいる死にかけのボロ雑巾の言葉なら信じられるとでも言うのか。男など一皮むけば皆同じだ。この男が今日までお前を守ってきたのはその身を己のものとするためだぞ。
Don't you dare insult him like that! He's nothing like you! Takeda took sick pleasure in taunting me, but I couldn't ever betray Iba in that way, especially after all of the generosity he has shown me in his care. I owe him that and more.
Chizuru-chan.
聞き分けのない女だ。まあいい。二度と生意気な口を聞けぬよう連れ帰って厳しくしつけてやるか。
Takeda lunged for my arm, twisting it roughly as he pulled me in closer to him. No, thank you! Itai!
待て！彼女離せ！
Iba drove his sword into the ground, using it to pull himself up from the floor, but it should be ground!
羅刹ども、その男を始末しろ。血を存分にすすって構わんぞ。
All of the Furies pointed their eyes greedily at Iba, encircling him to pounce upon his body. Somebody please fucking save us! Oh no, they're going to! Just as I let a fear take hold of me. The blast of gunfire resounded in the distance. A bullet ripping through flesh, then a pained grunt. Another round of gunfire went off, and I heard the hailfall of bullets hit Takeda and the other Furies. Oh, that voice! Iba, let's go, now! Takada's arms went limp as he flinched from the bullet wounds, and I tore away from him and kneeled next to Iba before lifting him up with my shoulder.
バカめ、逃がすと思っているのか。
Despite oozing blood from their bullet wounds, Takada and the other Furies blocked our path. That left us only one vulnerable alternative, the cliff to our backside, which was a long way down. There was no guarantee of survival down the side of the mountain, but we couldn't take the Furies head on. Are you okay with this, Iba? Neither Iba nor I could endure Takada's sadistic torture.
しずるちゃん、あなたは
A layer of gloss covered Iba's droopy eyes as he spoke. His collimated gloss of blood was entering him into a daze, and I clasped his hand tightly. I turned to look over my shoulder, and we jumped. The wind was our guide as we glided down the side of the mountain, and I braced myself for impact. Butterflies flew in my stomach as we dropped, then... As our bodies made contact with the rugged, colorless earth, I thought every bone in my body would shatter. But by some miracle, I only felt a little soreness. You alright, Iba? Iba scrunched his nose in pain, using his right arm to prop himself upright before standing altogether.
平気です。
Boy. Iba, stubborn as ever, tried to brush it off, but his face was pale and ghost-like from the severe loss of blood. There appeared to be no end in sight to the bleeding. Here, lean on my shoulder. Don't let go. We've got a lot of walking to do. I couldn't let Iba stay within range of those bloodthirsty Furies, nor could I leave him for the Imperial soldiers to capture.